What is going on, you guys? My name is Rayge, and we are back today with a quick update video in regards to Super Skrull. So finally had a chance to build him up to level 90, gear tier 17, and we have had a chance to use him across different game modes. So gonna share that with you guys today with some footage, but as well taking a look at his kit overall, why he's indisputably the best character in the entire game. My goodness, you really don't truly appreciate and understand how powerful this character is until you're actually playing with him and seeing how he synergizes with the rest of these different characters. And I just love the fact that there's so much theory crafting opportunity, but I'll dive more into that in the details, guys. But first and foremost, so let's get into his kit, and then I'll show you guys some gameplay footage with him. Just a super powerful character, and obviously hoping you guys all get a chance to unlock him as well. This is Dark Dimension 6 was such a a rewarding grind, but at the end of the day, like, this was the true reward, and my goodness, just such a huge addition to your roster, and I can see why everyone is chasing for this character. Skrull Barrage. So in this basic ability, it's one of the few abilities in the game where it does have a certain mechanic with exposure. So you'll see that later on in one of his abilities, but if the primary target does have expose, he's actually clearing barrier from that primary target. So it's something you want to be mindful of. Other than that, this attack is very strong even for a basic. It's piercing, it actually does chain to adjacent targets, and also flips positives into negatives. So you really want to be not afraid to target anybody that has a bunch of defense ups and so forth, because he's going to be able to flip that. And conversely, even using his basic, he also gains defense up for 2 turns and safeguard for 2 turns, as well as adding a barrier for himself. So and this is just the basic ability. It's crazy how broken this is. And there's some more mechanics involved here as well. There's villain and hero characters. So if this character does spawn with 2 or more villains, it also gains defense up. If he spawned with 2 or more hero allies, he applies disruption to each target when he does utilize the basic attack. And then lastly, guys, this attack also chains the stealth target. So just doing a bit of everything. So without a doubt, you have to upgrade all these abilities, right? But just crazy to see how even a basic ability is this strong. And again, it does more if there is exposure, especially being able to clear that barrier, kind of like similar to Kang's special and ultimate, where it naturally just happens upon using. His special is called Bending Flame. So, taking elements from Human Torch, obviously, attacking the primary target, and this is the ability that does apply the exposure. It's a really low costing energy of 3 as well. If this spawned with 2 or more hero allies, it turns into an ability block for 2 full turns to the primary target. This attack also naturally just applies damage primary to adjacent, and also reducing speed bar for each target that's actually hit. So you really want to be applying this damage in a cluster if you're able to. And again, if there's a couple of hero allies on the team, there's gonna be an ability block. If there's a couple of villain allies, conversely, you're also gonna be reducing the speed bar by an additional 40%. So in the perfect world, you really want to be pairing Super Skrull with 2 heroes and 2 villains, and that way you can take advantage of both. On top of that, though, outside of those additional benefits, this ability clears stealth from all enemies and also gain the following positive effects. So plus 2 defense up, offense up to maximum 5, deflex, immunity for 2 turns, and as well as stealth. So gives him natural protection, as well as all these buffs. Just makes him so hard to take down. And on top of that, he does gain additional focus, can't be blocked, dodge, counterattack. So doesn't really make sense to put him as a skirmisher, just because he's gonna be naturally gaining a lot of focus already. But we'll talk about ISO 8s in a little bit here, guys. His ultimate ability, my goodness, this is such a powerful ultimate. A Psionic Supernova, so definitely taking elements of all of the Fantastic Four, but he's going to be applying trauma for 2 full turns to the primary target. He flips defense up on all enemies, and again, this is an AoE ability, so you want to take advantage of all the damage, right? He's attacking with piercing and applying heal block and offense down, so protecting the team, but as well as even being able to flip that defense to defense down, just double whammy. And now to the mechanic of the hero and villains, right? So if there's 2 or more villains, this actually does do more piercing damage, and if there's 2 or more heroes, the trauma actually lasts for 2 turns to all enemies, as opposed to just that primary target. So once again, you're really getting the fruits of the labor of this ability if you have a perfect synergy with 2 heroes and 2 villains. And then on top of that, there's a barrier for himself and allies, and also additional 1000% focus. So oh my goodness, it's it's like a broken cheat code when you're reading this, because it just goes on and on. And then lastly, the fantastic one is the passive. And yeah, just when you think that things can't get any better, the first time this character does fall below that 50% threshold, he clears all negatives from himself. He also does provide a heal, and he gets back into that stealth mode to protect himself. So he's never really going to be in a vulnerable position unless there's like trauma and disruption on him, so that way he's not gaining buffs, right? While this character does have stealth though, this is what's really cool now, adding a lot of value to any team in the game when synergizing with Super Skrull, is the fact that by having stealth, the allies actually gain 20% damage reduction on stun. If that applies to him, he's gonna clear it and he's gonna throw it right back at the attacker. So it would be a mistake if you ever try to stun this character, as you're gonna result in that consequence of getting it reflected back, and it's gonna get, one up the opponent right away. When an enemy does gain a positive effect, or when this character gains a negative, so either way it's going to be unfavorable for us, there's actually going to be a heal that kicks in, and he also gets additional speed bar. So basically anything bad that happens, he's getting speed bar to go faster. So it's just, no matter how you spin it, he's just getting better and better. He also naturally lowers the armor for all enemies by 25%. He gains max HP. Allies here gain 25% max HP. So it doesn't matter who the heck they are, they're naturally going to be stronger next to Super Skrull. He gains 10% damage and focus, 10% for each hero up to maximum 5 times. So obviously 4 other heroes can obviously stack on that. He also gains additional armor and resistance if there's villains. So in a perfect world, then ideally it would be 20 and 20, just because you would separate the 2 and 2. So that's probably where it's going to likely end up with. And then lastly, it does talk about the exposure here, right? So when he does land the exposure, and it kind of works very well with characters like Val, because Val can also provide exposure, but enemies with expose, they cannot gain safeguard, deflect, or evasion. So you essentially mark them and they're done, right? It does not prevent prolonging the duration of effects already on the target. However, they're not going to be gaining those buffs and positive effects on them once this is applied. And then once per turn as well, when any enemy with expose is actually attacked, Super Skrull is actually going to attack all enemies for 5% of his HP, and then he's also going to be burying himself for 5%. So my goodness, just unbelievable abilities. Each and every one of them are scary. Even his passive is just doing wonders, right? Furthermore, I do think there's a couple of ISO 8s that really make sense on Super Skrull. I'm trying it out right now, but both Raider and Striker make the most sense, just because he's doing so much damage all across the board. Each and every one of his abilities are also AoE based, so I want to try Raider to see how much burst he can do, but I can also see him being a very strong Striker because he can get additional attacks and so forth, especially when he's combinating with the exposure and then obviously getting those on turn passive attacks as well. So it's gonna be really, really cool just to see this. But I do have some footage as well, guys, on both Arena and Raid, so we'll definitely show you how he's doing in battle and why he's such an important character, especially for theory crafting and just the art of having such a powerful and overpowered character in the game. For bio nodes, I especially want to test it out because node 2 is generally the one I have issues with in terms of just getting some RNG from the enemies. They have a lot of abilities that they're ready to use, so we usually have to shut them down with Rebirth. But taking the place of Agent Venom, we built up Super Skrull's energy from node 1 here, and I want to try this out. Activating his ultimate there, as you can see, the trauma, the offense down. I mean, this basically is some ensured protection on our team already. And then now I'm just playing my Rebirth as I normally would, right? We want to control the Viv Visions. We want to be able to take away some of the Deathlocks, damage there. Defense up. But yeah, just look at this. We don't typically have this opportunity to apply this many debuffs so early on in the battle, and you're gonna see it has such a big impact here. So Deathlock goes ahead and uses the abilities. Just look how minuscule the damage is right there. Usually that ability right there usually takes out one of my Rebirth characters, and then my Captain Carter would bring one of them back. But because of the fact that he has a natural HP increase for the team, as well as damage reduction when he's stealth, I mean, naturally he just makes every team better, right? And these are hero characters, so that means when he's using any of the specials right now, he is also going to be ability blocking them, adding some additional crowd controlling aspects for this team. So a node that became that was once very, very difficult, now look how streamlined this is, making my Rebirth even stronger than they are. and the amount of damage he's doing based on obviously the additional hero characters, but as well giving them additional supportive capabilities and really kind of rounding out the rest of my team. And this is just a sample of what I mean by the fact that he's a slotting character that can benefit so many different teams as a plug and play, just because of his innate abilities and the passives that he allows for teams. Now, switching gears here, you know, it's crazy. I have not been in the top 20 for quite some time now, but keep in mind, I still have Baby Apocalypse, so I wanted to try this mixture here of my Secret Defenders, plus now Super Skrull in place of Photon for the offense, and I want to see if I can slowly climb back up this ladder now that I have a distinct advantage over my enemies. So first and foremost, we do have that synergy here where we do have a couple of heroes and a couple of villains on our team, so we get that unique position to theorycraft just right. Now I'm still trying to learn this. Obviously here I can make mistakes, but I was still learning the battle just because I'm still new to how to really fully utilize Super Skrull. But I wanted to showcase for you guys here in this footage that even when we messed up the attack order here, as you can see, they're targeting my Miss Marvel. My ability to block wasn't that useful. The amount of debuffs they're going to be applying to me allows Super Skrull to gain turn meter, and he's going to be really flipping the tides of battle pretty shortly here. And keep in mind, they have a big boy Apocalypse. Mine's just a baby one, right? So we were able to at least ability block that Miss Marvel on the left. This is what I was worried about. Their big boy Apocalypse obviously getting his ultimate and empowered state off, but thankfully landed on my Apocalypse, so that was all right. We're still kind of focused on that left side, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Now, finally, this is the turning point. Super Skrull activating the ultimate, and again, the detrimental trauma, the offense down, and the clearing of the barrier when there is exposed targets. Like, it just combinates with Ghost Rider extremely well, especially Robbie Reyes, utilizing his ultimate and the cascading debuffs that we're applying on our enemies. They have no chance here whatsoever. Their team is stronger than ours, but the fact that we have Super Skrull is really the difference maker. Finally, we get Black Cat to clean up here, apply our debuffs on the opponent, Black Cat, and this is not even a competition, honestly. I think all of the characters are higher than mine, but Super Skrull is that distinct advantage that I had, finally getting my chance to use Apocalypse. But to be honest, he wasn't even really there, just because it was the Super Skrull and Robbie Reyes show. And then lastly, I wanted to quickly put together this Blitz battle here because I saw that there was a Darkhold team on the opposing side. And then I put together this random team of characters that have absolutely no offense, so that way you can see how powerful Super Skrull is really by himself, right? And this is going to be a failure, guys, but just watch. He has the stealth, so obviously it's going to help our team reduce damage and overall, but just look at what he's doing even by himself. This team was pretty much designed to fail. And there was a moment where, I felt like, honestly, if Super Skrull just had an additional teammate or two, I definitely think he could have taken this battle. But keep in mind, this is a full Darkhold team that has a higher power level than my Super Skrull. And most of my characters that I have right now, they're not offense based at all. They're just there to basically soak damage. But you can see Super Skrull activating how that powerful ultimate ability against our enemies, and yeah, just crazy how one character is doing all this by himself. And just look, he's still kind of holding his own. And yeah, like I said, all the characters we're up against are 70, 80k plus higher than our Super Skrull. But just to show you that level difference, right? The buffs he's getting for himself, the self-generation, like he's just tanking everything, even though this is a battle that's essentially designed for failure. Unfortunately, we couldn't get through the Wong. Maybe if we could have got through the Wong, we probably could have taken down at least one or two characters. But you can see here, we're gonna lose our allies pretty quickly here. And again, we're just trying to showcase how strong Super Skrull really is. Like, he's just taking absolutely everything. And like I said, the enemies we're up against, we actually do take down Doctor Strange Heartless. The darn shame they actually do get later on a stun on us, and that's essentially how they get the advantage, right? And then Morgan Le Fay's ability scales with HP, so it is what it is. But crazy to see how good this character is, even against a full meta team, where the other four members on the team, they were really just, a punching bag, and then Super Skrull carried everything. So yeah, guys, I mean, honestly, I can go on and on, but this has been so fun to just use him, and it almost kind of changes your gaming experience, really. So you know, I'm not sure if you guys have had a chance to see my video, but I did make an update video in regards to, you know, the investment of Big Apocalypse versus Super Skrull, and how I was able to actually get through and unlocking Super Skrull even before Big Boy Apocalypse. It's that gear investment and getting trapped into those resources. So yeah, like honestly, if you guys are watching this and you have not invested in Big Apocalypse yet, I highly urge you guys to reconsider, because getting Super Skrull into your account is way more important than pouring resources into Big Boy Apocalypse. And honestly, especially for a character of this caliber, it's just not even comparable. But yeah, I expect the meta to obviously change in the coming months as more folks get access to Super Skrull. But super fun character, guys. I'm excited for when you guys get a chance to unlock. Let me know how close you guys are in Dark Dimension 6. But as always, it's always a pleasure showing you guys this footage, and excited to keep climbing the ranks arena and constantly build up my Super Skrull to the max level here. So thank you as always. I'll catch you guys in the next one.